Welcome to today's Explainer. We're taking a grand tour inside what I like to call the large language model factory. Have you ever wondered what exactly happens from the moment you hit enter on a prompt to the moment a beautifully structured answer appears on your screen? I mean, it feels like magic, right? But under the hood, it's actually an incredible, highly structured assembly line. Today, we're going to demystify that magic by following the exact journey of a single prompt as it moves through this factory. So, to kick off our tour, we have to challenge a very fundamental assumption. Ask yourself, how does a machine actually read and understand human language? Because as humans, we process text by reading words, applying the rules of syntax and grammar, and relying on our lived experiences to find meaning. But language models, they don't know grammar. They don't know English or Spanish or Japanese. Instead, they process language using high-dimensional mathematics. They literally translate our messy, nuanced words into a universe of numbers. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is the roadmap for our factory tour today. First, the magic of language models. Second, tokenization, which is slicing the text. Third, embeddings, the math of meaning. Fourth, self-attention, where we connect the dots. And finally, the final prediction. First up, the magic of language models and the shared foundation of AI. Whether you're using OpenAI's GPT, Meta's Llama, or Google's Gemini, they actually all share a remarkably similar foundational architecture. And that foundation was laid back in a seminal 2017 paper titled Attention is All You Need. See, before this, AI processed language sequentially, reading one word, then the next, then the next. It used what were called recurrent neural networks. The problem, it was slow, and it kind of forgot earlier parts of a long sentence. The 2017 breakthrough was the transformer architecture. It completely abandoned that sequential processing in favor of parallelized attention. This meant the model could look at every single word in a prompt simultaneously. This one massive shift unlocked the speed and scale that makes modern AI possible. Moving right along to Section 2, tokenization, slicing the text. This is the very first step on the assembly line. So, let's bring our prompt into the factory. Remember, computers can't just digest whole sentences at once. They need bite-sized, manageable pieces. Here's how this works. First, we input the raw text. Second, the tokenizer slices that text into units called tokens. These can be whole words, or they can just be parts of words. Third, each token is assigned a unique input ID number. You can think of the tokenizer as having a fixed dictionary or vocabulary established before it was ever even trained. For example, the GPT-2 model has a strict vocabulary of exactly 50,257 unique tokens. Everything you say to it absolutely must be translated into combinations of those specific 50,257 numbers. And this brilliantly illustrates how the model optimizes that limited vocabulary. Take a common word like Australia. Because it's so common, it gets its own dedicated single token in the vocabulary. But a word like Melbourne might not be in that 50,000-word dictionary. Instead of just failing, the tokenizer breaks it down into subword tokens, Mel and Born. This subword slicing is a total game changer. It allows the model to handle incredibly complex or uncommon words, or even misspellings, without needing an infinitely large dictionary. Next up, Section 3, embeddings, the math of meaning, where we translate those IDs into a mathematical space. Okay, so right now, we just have a list of ID numbers. But numbers like 21,000 or 12 don't inherently mean anything to us, right? We need to translate these IDs into a mathematical space to give them semantic meaning. Enter the embedding. An embedding is simply a numerical representation of a token, defined as a high-dimensional vector. For the non-techies out there, imagine a massive 3D map floating in space. Words with similar meanings are physically grouped closer together on this map. So mathematically speaking, the coordinate for the word cat will be placed much closer to the word lion than it will be to the word moon. This spatial relationship is exactly how the model begins to understand context. But here's the crazy part. It's not just a 3D map. Look at this number, 768. In a relatively small model like GPT-2, every single token is represented not by 3 coordinates, but by a 768-dimensional coordinate. That is a list of 768 floating point numbers for just one piece of a word. It's this massive scale that allows the model to capture incredibly nuanced semantic details about how a word is used in human language. But there's a catch. If we just toss these embeddings into the model all at once, the words are processed at exactly the same time. The model literally wouldn't know the difference between the sentence "man bites dog" and "dog bites man." I mean, they contain the exact same tokens. To fix this, the factory applies positional encoding. It injects a pattern of sine and cosine wave values into the token embeddings. This elegantly stamps a unique mathematical position onto each word, preserving the absolutely critical order of the sequence. Which brings us to section 4, self-attention, connecting the dots. You can think of this as the boardroom of the transformer. Now we enter the absolute climax of the explainer, the true engine room of the transformer block. Think of this as a grand boardroom where all the tokens sit around a big table and communicate with each other to establish deep context. Inside this boardroom, every single token generates 3 distinct smaller vectors. We call them the query, the key, and the value. To figure out how it relates to the rest of the sentence, each word uses these 3 vectors to ask, hey, who should I be paying attention to right now? Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how perfectly this concept maps to something you use every single day, a search engine. Think of the query vector as the text you type into a Google search bar. The key vector is like the title of every web page on the internet, advertising what that page is about. The model compares your query against all the keys. When it finds a good match, it extracts the value, which is the actual page content. The math of self-attention is essentially every single word doing a mini web search against every other word in your prompt. Let's personify this math for a second. Imagine the sentence, the animal didn't cross the street because it was too tired. What does the word it refer to? The animal or the street? Through a process called mask self-attention, the token it sends out its query vector. It calculates dot products with the keys of the other words to score their relationships. Because of the surrounding context, the word it will score very highly with the word animal, heavily weighting it, while basically ignoring the word street. The words literally dynamically blend their meanings together. And you know what? This process doesn't just happen once. In a model like GPT-2, there are 12 separate attention heads operating simultaneously. While one head is figuring out that it means animal, another head might be tracking the grammar, and another tracking the emotional tone. They are all working in parallel to build an incredibly rich, multi-layered understanding of your prompt. All right, the final section, the final prediction. It's time to spin the roulette wheel. All of that complex, contextualized math finally leads us to the last stage of the assembly line. It's time for the factory to actually produce an output. But before it does, those deeply connected tokens pass through one more filter called a multi-layer perceptron, or MLP. Think of this as the model reflecting on what it just learned. The MLP temporarily expands the dimensions of each token from 768 up to an enormous 3,072 dimensions. It does this independently for every single token to find even deeper, richer linguistic patterns before compressing it neatly back down to 768. Finally, this enriched math is pushed to a final linear layer and a function called Softmax, which basically acts like a massive probability roulette wheel. If your prompt was Gautam Buddha was born in, the model evaluates all 50,257 possible next tokens in its vocabulary. Softmax then converts those raw scores into percentages. Notice how the model assigns a 91% probability to the token Nepal and mere fractions of a percent to the alternatives. It confidently selects Nepal, adds it to the sequence, and the entire factory loop starts all over again for the very next word. So the crucial point is how we, as the users, can actually control this final roulette wheel using a setting called temperature. Mathematically, it's just a simple division operation on the final scores. But practically, if you set the temperature below 1, you make the probability distribution extremely sharp, meaning the model becomes deterministic, strictly factual, and highly confident. But if you set it above 1, it flattens the distribution, adding randomness and what we perceive as creativity to the output. You are literally turning the dial on the model's mathematical confidence. As we exit the LLM factory today, I want to leave you with this final thought. We've seen how tokens, embeddings, and self-attention transform human words into high-dimensional vectors and probability distributions. It is purely 100% math, and yet the output feels stunningly human. If our most complex, nuanced language can be so perfectly mapped and replicated by cold equations, what does that say about the underlying mechanics of how we humans actually think? Keep exploring, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.